Welcome to You Can Be Healed. This is Connie. I am a limiting beliefs and miracle mindset coach and an emotional healer. In this episode, I want to share where does fear of failure come from and how to deal with them. Have you ever been so afraid of failing at something that you decided not to try it at all? Or you subconsciously sabotage or minimize your effort to avoid the possibility of failure? I have been there and for many times. So I want you to know that you are not alone. And that's why I create this first episode about fear, and it's going to be a series that I will talk about different kind of fears in the coming few weeks to help you overcome them so you can start to create the life that you love and live your life fearlessly. So in the next coming 3 weeks, I will continue to talk about another 3 most common fears that I always heard from my clients. Those are fear of rejection, fear of uncertainty and unknown, fear of success. So remember to subscribe to my channel to get notified on my upcoming episodes about fear. At the end of this episode, I will also share a very short but very inspiring story on how to defeat fear. So now, let's get started to our first fear episode. Fear of failure. Fear of failure is one of the most common phobias for all people. Many of us have probably experienced this at one time or another. The fear of failing can be immobilizing. It can cause us to do nothing and resist moving forward. That's why many people are feeling stuck in life. When we allow fear of failure stop us doing the things that can move us forward to achieve our goals, we then often miss many great opportunities along the way that can change our life for better. To find out where does fear of failure coming from, we first need to understand what failure actually means. We all have different definitions of failure, simply because we all have different standards, values, and most importantly, belief systems. A failure to one person can be a great lesson for someone else. In general, failure is defined as an absence or lack of success. It allows us to personally define success so we can know whether or not we have failed. The main problem here is that most of people aren't great at defining success. This could leave us feeling like failures when in fact we are actually the opposite. If I ask you, what definition of success and failure do you have right now? Do you have the answer? Most of the time, the answer is, I don't know. They will then be swayed by whoever influences them most, whether that's their boss, their best friends, or social media influencers they've never met, which means if they don't match up to their standards, they are failing. That's a hard way to live. And then there's the group of people who never define success and failure, meaning they don't know what they are doing either. That will make everything feel like impossible in life for them, and they won't even trying or doing. So before you define failure, first, please ask yourself, what's your standard and measurement of failure and success? So now, let's talk about where are the fear of failure come from. There are many causes, but I will share the most common ones. For instance, Having critical or unsupportive parents is one of the major causes of fear of failure for many people. If you grew up in a home where mistakes are criticized, this can be the cause of your fear of failure. Or if your parents putting pressure on you to take up a certain degree in the university or do certain things, that could lead you to develop a fear of failure because you don't want to fail them. If you were constantly being discouraged or humiliated in childhood, you may carry those negative feelings and limiting beliefs into your adulthood. The common limiting beliefs such as, I am not good enough, I will fail in anything I do, I am not smart enough to succeed, no one will ever believe in me, etc. Another cause of fear of failure can be experiencing a traumatic or negative event in the past. You could be your boss at work, the teachers at school, siblings or friends. For example, if you had experience of gave an important presentation in front of a large group of people and you did it very poorly, the experience might have been so terrible that you became afraid of speaking in public or afraid of holding a conversation even with a small group of people. And you carry that fear with you that stops you from achieving more in your life. But the good news is, that's all the past. You can always get over such experiences and change your limiting beliefs. It's important to realize that we always have a choice. We can choose to be afraid, or we can choose not to be. And what are the common signs of fear of failure? The first sign is you worry too much about what other people think about you. When you find that you're constantly worrying about what people will think about you or judge you, you have fear of failure and fear of being yourself. You then automatically allow them to define who you are and your ability to succeed. The second sign, you always tell people that you don't expect to be successful, rich, or fill in the blank, because you fear that they will judge you when you fail at something, so you say this to lower their expectations. You prepare them in advance for your failure. The third sign, reluctance. You are unwilling to get involved in any challenging or new projects. This is because you are not confident enough, and you may have low self-esteem that you will find yourself have that negative inner voice keep telling you that you will never be good enough to do anything you want to do, or you will never be smart enough to succeed. And the fourth sign is perfectionism. You are only willing to do and try those things that you know you will finish perfectly and successfully, because that's within your comfort zone and you subconsciously think that's the only area you can do. So those are the very common signs of fear of failures. So now, how to overcome fear of failure? First of all, you must know it's almost impossible to go through life without experiencing some kind of failure. People who do so probably live so cautiously that they go nowhere, and most of the time, those are the people who are feeling stuck in life. Failing doesn't make you a failure, but giving up does. The wonderful thing about failure is that it's entirely up to us to decide how to look at it. We can choose to see failure as the end of the world or how inadequate we are. Or we can look at failure as the incredible lessons and learning experiences that help us grow to become a better self. Every time we fail at something, we can choose to look for the lessons we are meant to learn. These lessons are very important. They are how we grow, and they help us to get better on what we do. They lead us to where and what we want to achieve in life. Failures stop us only if we let them. You can also look for evidences to support your belief system that many successful people had experienced failure before they succeed. For example, Michael Jordan, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, he said, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. And 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." And J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter, she said in her words, "I had failed on an epic scale. An exceptionally short-lived marriage has imploded, and I was jobless, a lone parent, and as poor as it is possible to be in modern Britain without being homeless. The fears that my parents had had for me, that I had had for myself, had both come to pass. And by every usual standard, I was the biggest failure I knew." And she said, coming out of this failure stronger and more determined was the key to her success. And next, Thomas Edison. Chances are you have heard of Edison in relation to overcoming failure before. He was a master of trial and error, someone who wasn't afraid to make lots of mistakes in order to succeed. When asked about the many thousands of failures he had when trying to create the light bulb, he famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." But there is even more to it than that. As a child, he was thought to be dumb and told that he would never be a success by many of his teachers because his mind would often wander in class. And good thing for us that the greatest inventor in history did not listen. So don't be afraid to fail. Start failing and start failing often. That's how you will succeed. Think of the opportunities you will miss if you let your failure stop you. And think of the cost if you don't take the chance. Which one cost you more? Failure can also teach us things about ourselves that we would never have learned otherwise. For example, failure can help you discover how strong a person you are and help you find unexpected formula and motivation to succeed. And to my personal experience, every time I failed in something, I always learned something new, and I will apply the new learnings in the next thing that I do. And this happens over and over again to the point that I don't see failing as a failure anymore, but as a discovery to something that I didn't know that can help me grow and succeed. No matter how terrified you feel about trying out new things, get up and show up. That's how every other successful person in the world make it, by simply doing. There's no failure except in no longer trying. And I want to end this episode with the following short story on how to defeat fear. I hope this can serve you as a reminder when next time fear rises inside you. Once there was a young warrior. Her teacher told her that she had to do battle with fear. She didn't want to do that because it seemed too aggressive, it was scary, it seemed unfriendly, but the teacher said she had to do it and gave instructions for the battle. The day arrived. The student warrior stood on one side and fear stood on the other. The warrior was feeling very small and fear was looking so big and wrathful. The young warrior roused herself and went toward fear and asked, "May I have permission to go into battle with you?" Fear said, "Thank you for showing me so much respect that you ask permission." Then the young warrior said, "How can I defeat you?" Fear replied, "My weapons are that I talk fast and I get very close to your face. Then you get completely unnerved and you do whatever I say. If you don't do what I tell you, I have no power. You can listen to me and you can have respect for me. You can even be convinced by me. But if you don't do what I say, I have no power over you." I found this short story very inspiring, and it explains exactly how we feel when we face fear. We always listen to it. What if you stop listening to it and start to have faith and believe in yourself? Imagine how would your life change a year from now? Remember, failure is only the opportunity to begin again, only this time more wisely. May you all have the courage to defeat your fear and get what you truly want and deserve in life. Thank you for listening, and I hope this inspires you. Please comment below and share with me what's your takeaway. And I will see you in my next episode.